Despite polling their players for pretty much every change, old school RuneScape has recently pushed out a gender affirming update without any polls on it. And a lot of people, including Null, the owner of Kiwi Farms, are not happy about it.
When I was a child, I played a game called Runescape. I joined Runescape literally in 2001. I want to say I was one of the first players. I think I know that I'm one of the first players because it's really hard for me to remember when exactly I first got my RuneScape account. But when I registered, and this is how I date my account, I was asked to pick a class. And if you ever played RuneScape, you would know that classes don't exist in RuneScape. It's very open-ended. You can do whatever you want, basically. But when you picked
I played RuneScape and I had no idea that was ever a thing.
a class in RuneScape Classic, which is what it's called, that version of the game is what it's called now, you were given a few items, and I think even bonus XP based on that class. And they removed the class picker, in 2001, very early on, and they replaced it with Tutorial Island that gave you all of the class items right off the bat. So as soon as you left Tutorial Island, you already had all the things that you would have gotten if you picked one of each class, basically. So they got rid of it. But the fact that I remember this and remember doing this is evidence to me that I registered so early on that it was like, it was before party hats dropped, it was before Santa hats dropped, it was before lots of quests came out. It was definitely way before the old school RuneScape update that turned. It was called RuneScape
Josh,
2.
you played a long time
they
ago.
added knees. There's the pre-knee and post-knee version of RuneScape. If you walk by walking with leg stilts in a two-dimensional world, that's RuneScape.
I mean, do you think maybe this guy's autistic? Do you think maybe the guy that started Kiwi Farms is just giving us all of this detail about RuneScape, a version of it that sounds like most of it doesn't even exist anymore?
Classic. After that's
Maybe.
RuneScape 2, which is now called Old School RuneScape because that was in 2004 where that came out. Now, this is a 23-year-old game, is what I'm trying to say. It's fucking old. And in the history of this 23-year-old game, when you registered, even if you didn't have to pick a class, you did have to pick a gender. Dun, dun, dun. So 23 years later, they have gone back and added a fucking gender pronoun thing. They renamed man into body type A, and they renamed woman into body type B with he.
So that's not even man or woman in RuneScape anymore. You're either type A or type B, and then you choose your pronouns separately. I mean, it just looks weird to see it in that menu with that art. It's it's and is there a purple skin? What the heck?
He, him, they, them, she, her pronouns. And they added this into a 23-year-old fucking game. Your character designer window hadn't changed in like 2 decades. They never went back and added more hairstyles. They never went back and added more colors or clothing options. Like when they tried to add all this cosmetic shit to RuneScape 3, which is the current version of the game that's not old school, it basically ruined it because you're always wearing armor, basically. If you walk around in the game now, you'll see that almost everybody is wearing what's called a graceful set, and that just makes your run energy longer. So nobody ever sees what you look like. They never see if you're a man or a woman. They never see what your pronouns are, what your skin
You mean a type A or a type B? There is no man or woman anymore. We've banished that.
color is. Everybody under armor is equal, basically. And for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, to satiate an extremely loud vocal minority of players who are gender special and need to inflict this.
Yeah, it seems like obviously the Jagex or whoever develops RuneScape has to know that it is a minority. Otherwise, why would you not just do the poll for it first if you pull pretty much all your other changes? It's very odd.
Shit on everyone around them all the fucking time. They add this bullshit to a 23-year-old fucking game, a game old enough to drink. Yeah, sorry, buddy. This character creation screen that's worked for millions of people for 2 fucking decades. Sorry, we're in a new era. You gotta change. You gotta change so that everyone can pick their fucking genders. And then, of course, the mod Ash, who I've heard mixed things. Some people say that he's a retard, like a spurg, but other people say that he's very nice and he cares a lot about the game. So I'll try to be nice, chat. I won't call him a fat retard like I did in my post. But this guy, this news at midnight person, Tyquin Santana, asked if people misgender him after this update, if they can be banned. And Mod Ash says we might ban people for that. And then Tyquin also says it maybe.
I mean, what? Thanks for the suggestion and sharing your concern about being treated that way. Okay, it doesn't seem like he's actually saying that they might add it though. I'm not seeing that here. Just says thanks for the suggestions and sharing your concern about people being treated that way. And I expect some engine work would be needed for that, but that's in reference to adding pronouns.
The pronouns could be added to the chat. So when he's typing, it would say she, her, and it just makes my skin crawl. One of the worst things that's been added to all these tech websites like GitHub and Discord and Slack or the fucking LinkedIn, Stack Overflows, the fucking pronouns. If I can't tell what your fucking pronouns are by your profile picture and by your name, you're a retard. You're a fucked up gender blob, and you don't deserve to be referred to with pronouns. Your pronouns are there for it. You're an it. You're dehumanized. You don't get to
Oh, and Fawn would like that.
qualify as a he or a she. You're some fucking object. So they're trying to add that, or he dismisses them. And to his credit, he says the engine would need to be changed. It's too much work for some dumb bullshit that nobody fucking cares about. This guy, by the way, now that I think of it, now that I want to tirade, I'm angry. They added pronouns to my video game. The game that I put the most hours in since I was like 9. I think 2001 it would have been 8 or 9. Since I was 8 or 9, this menu has not fucking changed. But this guy's
In the full segment, Null went pretty hard on this guy, but supposedly this is the person who is asking Jagex to make these changes to RuneScape. I don't think it's all that YouTube safe. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll include that. I don't know if I could include that part, rather. I already did cut it out.
said, I want to be a they, them, bearded woman. And Mod Ash was like, it's done. Just for you, my queen. And now it's changed. And I am so filled with fucking hatred. I hate these people. I hate that they find things that people don't want changed. Nobody wants gender shit in fucking RuneScape. People go to cut yew trees and plant shit and farm abyssal demons for 40 fucking hours straight while watching Netflix because it's not this. It's not looking at the news and seeing this shit. And they want to take that from me. They want to break it. I don't like that at all. It makes me very angry, actually. And the other thing, I wish I had infinite money.
Yeah, this is the part where he gets into the polls. It's this, I never really got that into RuneScape or whatever, so I'm not nearly as invested in this as Null is. But I really would be bothered if I was a RuneScape player, especially a paying member, and they rolled this out without a poll, despite pretty much everything else being a poll. That would irritate me very much.
Money just to sue people all the fucking time. If I had infinite money, I would be one of the most litigious cocksuckers on the fucking planet. Because when they relaunched old school RuneScape, it was Mod Ash's passion project, to his credit, if I remember correctly. When they relaunched it, you see this poll? They poll everything. Here's a question, and this is a 27 question questionnaire that tens of thousands of people vote in every week. Should we implement a warmth meter system in Wintertodt as described in the blog? This would effectively replace hit points as your main resource to reduce imbalance between hit points level. Wintertodt is a game. It's basically there's a skill called fire making. It's existed since 2001. Like it's always been in the fucking game. But obviously, when you have a skill like Slayer, which is like identifying monster weaknesses and killing them, or farming, which is growing shit, or herb lore, which is making potions, knowing how to make a campfire is kind of like an odd one out. It's a particularly useless skill. So to make it leveling it up easier, there's a mini game that you can play called Winter Tote, and you take damage periodically, and you have to eat to restore health while you do that. But obviously, there's lots of characters that are trying to level up fire making, who don't want they're
It's giving so much detail about this game. But, the point of that is to show this is how in-depth they would poll people. Like, this is a pretty niche thing that's you could probably play 99% of the game or whatever and not ever interact with this place. And they would poll people about that. But with this, that is a sweeping thing that affects, every player basically at all times. They don't poll that? That's super lame. I would, if I was still a player, I would be very, very irritated by that.
they're called I forget the name of them. They try to remain level 3 combat, but they try to max out all their skills. It's like a little challenge people do, and these people can't play this game because otherwise they would die immediately in Winter Tote. So they offer the players, do you mind if we replace this with like a 100 point health warmth system as opposed to your actual combat health? And 87% of players said that's a good idea. That's fair. And then they implement it. But they don't just implement it because most people said yes. They implement it because more than 70% of people said yes. It's a supermajority. It's actually higher than a supermajority in the U.S. Congress to pass one of these rules. It's 70% of people. So if it's even a little bit unpopular, then they don't do it. And most famously, there was a 69% yes vote for a skill that they had completely fleshed out called sailing. And honestly, I don't like the idea of sailing being a skill, but they're forcing that through anyways now. And the same thing.
Crazy that they wouldn't just poll on the skill first and then work on developing it, or at least part way through. Jagex just I don't know. Very odd decision making.
They do these integrity updates. If it's for the integrity of the game, they don't poll it. Well, guess what's considered integrity by their standards, chat? All the gay shit. Do you want a parade in Falador for Pride? Not polled. That's integrity. Do you want to Do you want to remove? There's a quest where you get married. It's just a stupid quest where you inherit an island through like an arranged marriage, and you have to marry the opposite sex. Do you want to remove that and make it so you can just say, sorry, I'm a weird sexless asexual sponge monster, I don't get married, and pass the quest anyways? That's an integrity update. We're not going to pull that. There's a quest called Recruitment Drive where you have to defeat a series of knights.
Like, this dude just has so much knowledge on this game. It's ridiculous.
One of the knights, taking a line from Lord of the Rings, says, "No man can defeat me." Well, the gimmick is you have to go to the Makeover Mage, pay 2,000 coins to change your character's sex to female, and then you can do damage to him. It's a puzzle. They took that out. Now he says, "No blade can defeat me." So you just have to walk over and pick up a hammer that's on the fucking ground, and then you can hammer this dumb fuck to death. No cleverness required. Oh, no blade, huh? Well, thankfully there's a war hammer on the fucking ground next to me now, so I don't even have to think about it. I can just pick it up and bash your fucking skull in.
Yeah. Like, even if you're gonna make the pronouns changes or whatever, the gender affirming changes, you can't make a more creative alternative to that quest. Like, there's just and no thought put into that.
Then, now that also was an integrity change. So they got rid of that. We don't want to make someone feel gender dysphoric by forcing them to be a man for 30 fucking seconds to finish this quest. They changed all the names of the vendors in Al-Kaherd. There was a joke, and this joke has been in the game since the fucking 2001. All the people in the desert area of the game are named Ali.
One of his chatters is saying Jagex got bought by some Chinese company, so or maybe RuneScape did. I don't know. So maybe Jagex isn't running it anymore. But regardless, whoever is doing it, weird decision making.
So there was Ali the camel, Ali the kebab shop owner, Ali the swordsmith, Ali the Prince Ali, the prince of the whole area. Get it? Because they're Arabs. Now they didn't call him Muhammad; they went for Ali. So it's just a joke. I'm sure if there was a similar joke where there was a town, because it's based off of English lore. I'm sure if there was a joke where all the characters were named Schmidt or Smith, they wouldn't be like, oh no, we can't do that. That implies the incestuous nature of white people. No, that doesn't happen. So all the Alis got renamed to unique names. That wasn't poll
Rip Ollie.
either. That's an integrity change. I want to say there's another one, but I think that might be it. They released cosmetic items, of course. So in 2023 or 2022, 20 plus years after the game had launched with absolutely no fucking gay shit in it whatsoever, they added rainbow cosmetics so that a very vocal minority of people could dress like absolute fucking retards in public and feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, he says a couple times in there, a vocal minority, and I'm genuinely, more so than anything, just curious to see what the poll would have said, because the way that they just pushed this out as an integrity update, to me, that says that they knew it would not be 70% popular or more. So I don't understand why you would do that, unless, I mean, I guess they just assume that's the financial move to make, but I don't know. I don't know. It would be super aggravating to me if I was a player of RuneScape, especially a paying member, and they just rolled these sorts of things out without polling people, despite polling on such tiny, intricate details otherwise.